Welcome into This is Baseball. My name is Brandon Johnson. It is good to be back. Been out for about a week and a half. Was on vacation last week, and a lot has happened since I've last put out an episode. So, got some things to discuss from the last week and just some baseball stuff that's been on my mind. Had a massive trade happen last week. Rafael Devers got traded from the Boston Red Sox over to the San Francisco Giants. I want to talk about that a little bit. I want to talk some Kansas City Royals and what's going on with them. The All-Star game is right around the corner. We're less than a month out from that game happening out in Atlanta. And some managers got ejected. Dave Roberts and Mike Schilt having some beef with each other. A lot to talk about. Good to be back. So let's just get into it. I think the big news of the week was the Rafael Devers trade. Probably going to be the most pivotal trade, most monumental trade of the 2025 season. Making a massive trade a month plus before the trade deadline. And this is a big deal because Rafael Devers signed a long-term deal with the Boston Red Sox. This is from Spotrac.com. Rafael Devers signed a 10-year contract extension for $313 million, an average salary of $31 million. Over 10 years, he would be a free agent in 2034. So, locked up a long-term deal. Kind of felt like he was going to be the guy. They were going to build around him, and that seemed to be accurate. Go into 2025. Alex Bregman's a free agent coming into this season and ends up signing a deal with the Boston Red Sox. And Boston wanted Rafael Devers to move around. There was some reluctance there. And it just seemed like there was constantly issues between Devers and the Red Sox during this season. Thought it would be something that they could maybe work out and get past. You got your guy that you have signed up long term. You want him to be the face of your franchise, and you can't keep him happy. And obviously, can't keep the face of your franchise happy. It's not good for anybody, especially this early on in a contract. Probably should have been, and this isn't even Alex Bregman's fault. This is obviously the front office not really doing their due diligence with Rafael Devers in bringing in Bregman and making sure that that's something that Devers is going to be willing to do. I'm of the opinion that you're getting paid a lot of money to play baseball. You should be willing to be a little bit flexible there if you're Rafael Devers. But I get it. Felt disrespected by the front office. And come June, Devers is traded to the San Francisco Giants. And let's break down that trade a little bit. So this is from MLB.com. Rafael Devers, who is the only player left from the 2018 World Series champion Boston Red Sox, was dealt to the Giants for right-handed pitcher Jordan Hicks and left-handed pitcher Kyle Harrison, and a pair of prospects, outfielder James Tibbs III, who's the number 4 prospect for the Giants, and Jose Ballot, who is a right-handed pitcher. The Giants are actually taking on the remainder of Rafael Devers' contract, so they're going to they have $250 million plus left on that deal. This is actually good for the Giants. I'm glad that they did this. They are In second place in the National League West, the Dodgers are kind of starting to pull away a little bit in that division, but the Giants are only 4.5 back there. But they do have a pretty firm grasp on one of the 3 wild card spots right now. So they feel like their competitors, obviously having Rafael Devers added to your team, not only now, but long term, will be good for the Giants. And like I said, Buster Posey's the GM there now. I'm excited to see if he can make the Giants a perennial contender. We obviously know that the Giants were a dynasty in the 2010s, winning 3 championships. So hopefully they can get back to their winning ways. Obviously, you're playing in a division with the Dodgers, so already not easy. But let's talk about the Red Sox a little bit. This is now the 3rd star that they have let get away. They traded Mookie Betts, who was a big part of their World Series championship. He was an MVP. He ended up leaving, getting traded to the Dodgers, signed a long-term deal with the Dodgers, and it's been one of the 5 best players in the league, in my opinion. Xander Bogaerts, another player that maybe would be the guy for the Red Sox. Don't sign him. He goes to San Diego, signs a long-term deal with them. So now you have Rafael Devers, who's a very good player from an offensive standpoint, and sign him to a long-term deal. Kind of right some of your wrongs with some of the previous players that you let leave the building, and you managed to mess that up too. So hopefully the Red Sox can just kind of move past this and start a new chapter and start heading in the right direction. I do want to talk a little bit of Kansas City Royals. As I record this, they are 38-41, 11.5 back in the division. I think that ship has sailed at this point. They're 3.5 games back in the wild card standings, which is fine. That's, I think, the goal at this point. Listen, Jack Caglione finally hit a home run. In fact, he had 2 home runs in the same game. They went into Texas, swept Texas, and lost the series in San Diego. But the positive is they went 4-2 on the road trip, which you'll take that every time out. Obviously, you felt like you probably could have won the series in San Diego, but we go glass half full there and say, yep, they went 4-2. But now they've got a tough stretch against Tampa. They already dropped one against Tampa, and they host the Dodgers this weekend, so they've got to figure it out. I've seen some people that are just calling for the Royals to be sellers. It is way, way, way too early to be declaring them out of this thing. As I stated, they're 3.5 games out of the wild card, which is very, very much in it, and a lot can change between now and the trade deadline at the end of July or early August, whatever day they decided to do it this year. So I guess hold on. I think that, and maybe I'm going to sound silly by the time that we get to the trade deadline, but I do feel like they can start to put some stuff together as an offense and score runs consistently, because it feels like right now the offense goes dormant for a week plus. Then they have a 3 or 4 game stretch where you feel like they're back, and then it just goes back to not scoring runs again. So let's, I guess, find a happy medium. I'm not asking you to be the best offense in the league by any means, but let's be average at best. You have a negative 25 run differential right now, and having a negative run differential is not going to help you be successful. So help your pitching staff out, score some runs. Let's be competitive. And I I think that the Royals are going to go to the deadline feeling like they're buyers, unless this just gets ugly. And I don't see that happening. I think they're going to be buyers at the deadline and feel like they can go get a bullpen arm. You can never have too much pitching. Maybe go find an outfielder that can help you out a little bit more consistently and get this thing back on track. All right, let's talk MLB All-Star Game. We are less than a month out from the All-Star break. All-Star Game is Tuesday, July 15th at Truist Park in Atlanta. And I think I've said this every year, but I still stand behind the fact that I think Major League Baseball has the best All-Star Game. It is the closest thing that we have to it feeling like just a regular season game. I know they got rid of the All-Star Game mattering, where it used to be the winner of the All-Star Game got home field advantage in the World Series. It's probably good that they got rid of that. They're also bringing back teams wearing their uniforms rather than them having specific all-star uniforms. So I like that. But no, in comparison to the National Football League and their all-star game, the Pro Bowl, that's just obviously flag football at this point, plus some skills competitions, but it's not something that is really worth watching. The NBA keeps having to go back to the drawing board because they can't get their all-star game right. I think they're going to be changing up their format again for I think they do that every year at this point. They just can't seem to figure it out, where baseball, MLB is just like, we're going to play a baseball game and it'll be fun. And it's just, for me, it's one of the only all-star games that I feel like is appointment television, or like I make a point to watch it. Maybe not all of it, but I want to watch some of it just because I think they do a really good job with the presentation of it, and the players seem to enjoy it as well. But with the All-Star Game coming up, obviously that means that the All-Star ballot is open. So if you're a fan of the game, get out there and vote. Vote for your favorite player to make the All-Star team. I do want to just go through the top vote getters as of June 23rd. So in the American League at first base, top vote getters Vladimir Guerrero, with Paul Goldschmidt closely behind. Second base, Gleyber Torres has a pretty good handle on that. Shortstop, Jacob Wilson, rookie, having a fantastic year, is ahead of Bobby Witt Jr. by a pretty good margin. So Royals fans, you got work to do if you want Bobby Witt Jr. to be a starter in the All-Star game. Jose Ramirez is the third base leader. DH Ryan O'Hearn leading the way there. Catchers Cal Riley in Seattle, who's leading the league in home runs, having a great season as well. So well-deserved up there. Outfielders, Aaron Judge, obviously, you can already crown him MVP. Riley Green for the Tigers, and Javier Baez for the Tigers up there as well. Mike Trout is getting a lot of votes. So that is the American League. Moving on to the National League. Dodgers' Freddie Freeman has the most votes at first base, and it is not even close. He's a million votes ahead of... Okay, maybe not quite a million, but he is 500,000 votes ahead of Pete Alonso for first base. Second base, Ketel Marte. He's leading for the Diamondbacks by a pretty good margin as well. Shortstop, Francisco Lindor actually beating out Mookie Betts. Third base, Manny Machado is in the lead there. He looks like that's going to stick. Shohei Ohtani for DH. Rafael Devers, who we just talked about, is getting a ton of votes as well. Catcher Will Smith for the Dodgers. So you're gonna have a lot of Dodgers, it looks like, starting for the National League All-Star team. Outfielders Pete Crow Armstrong for the Cubs, Teoscar Hernandez for the Dodgers, and Kyle Tucker for the Cubs. Ronald Acuna Jr. getting a ton of votes, which is actually pretty awesome because he was hurt for the first 6 weeks of the season. Juan Soto getting a lot of votes as well. So still plenty of time to vote, but that's the standings right now. Again, get out there, vote. I think you can vote once a day. So do that. So I did mention managers getting ejected. I'm talking about Mike Shildt of the Padres and Dave Roberts of the Dodgers. Both two teams that are very good in the National League. They play in the same division. Fernando Tatis Jr. gets hit on the wrist. Mike Shildt takes exception to it. And Dave Roberts and Mike Shildt, the managers, get into a little bit of a shoving match, which is interesting. I think if you're the managers, you have to be kind of peacekeepers there and not be the ones to go after each other. Not the first time we've seen managers go at each other. I remember, or coaches in general. I remember Don Mattingly, Mark McGwire, Kirk Gibson, Matt Redmond going at each other. I want to say it was when Ian Kennedy hit Zach Greinke in the head with a pitch when both of them were playing for the Diamondbacks and Dodgers, if my memory serves me correct. But I don't know. I'm not an advocate for benches clearing, but I think when you have situations where the benches are clearing, it tells me that you care and you're competitive and you're going to do whatever it takes. And sometimes your emotions are going to boil over. So I don't really have any issues with that. I know that both managers served a suspension for their part in the situation, but I don't know. It's kind of fun for me. I know that in MLB, benches clearing quote unquote brawls are usually nothing. It's usually just a lot of yelling at each other and hold me back and shoving type of situations. No real punches thrown, no Rougned Odors punching Jose Bautista in the mouth or Jose Ramirez punching Tim Anderson and virtually wiping him off the face of the earth. I don't really know what he hasn't been the same. In fact, he's been DFA'd like 3 times since Jose Ramirez did that. But Padres and Dodgers will meet more after the All-Star break, and they'll play more meaningful baseball. So we'll see if some of these issues boil over into the next series that they play against each other. There's a pretty good opportunity that they're going to see each other in the postseason as well. So if you want to see a heated rivalry in 2025, pay attention, mark it on your calendar to see the Dodgers and Padres play against each other. So that's all I have this week. Really good to be back at it. I am excited for what is coming up. We're really getting into the back half of the season here sooner than we realize, and that's when everything gets really fun to cover. So continue to tune in as some of these playoff races heat up, and I will see you next week.